Welcome back. If you're one of my Facebook or LinkedIn friends, please make sure you open this video within either the YouTube app or youtube.com. That way you can comment, like, and subscribe if you haven't already done so within YouTube. I would really appreciate it. Now, I'm not sure if you can relate, but during this weird pandemic time, I've been looking through some of my old books, and one of my favorites is written by the spiritual teacher and author, you probably heard of him, named Eckhart Tolle. This particular book was published back in 2005, so many of you have already maybe heard of it or even read it, and it is right here. And it's called A New Earth, Awakening to Your Life's Purpose. So what I thought I would do today is something a little bit different, random, and fun. What I thought I would do is select 3 passages just randomly from the book and read them, each of them, to you, because something tells me that maybe one or all of the passages I select may be just the message you need to hear right now. Doesn't matter when you listen to this, the date or time of the video. Rather, I believe it may be meant to be that whenever you happen to listen to this, this might be the message that you need to hear. So here goes. Here's the first passage. All right. The Zen master Hakuin lived in a town in Japan. He was held in high regard and many people came to him for spiritual coaching. Then it happened that the teenage daughter of his next door neighbor became pregnant. When being questioned by her angry and scolding parents as to the identity of the father, she finally told him that he was Hakuin, the Zen master. In great anger, the parents rushed over to Hakuin and told him with much shouting and accusing that their daughter had confessed that he was the father. All he replied was, "Is that so?" News of the scandal spread throughout the town and beyond. The master lost his reputation. This did not trouble him. Nobody came to see him anymore. He remained unmoved. When the child was born, the parents brought the baby to Hakuin. "You are the father, so you look after him." The master took loving care of the child. A year later, the mother remorsefully confessed to her parents that the real father of the child was the young man who worked at the butcher shop. In great distress, they went to see Hakuin to apologize and ask for forgiveness. "We're really sorry. We have come to take the baby back. Our daughter confessed that you are not the father. Is that so?" is all he would say as he handed the baby over to them. The master responds to falsehood and truth, bad news and good news, in exactly the same way. Is that so? He allows the form of the moment, good or bad, to be as it is, and so does not become a participant in human drama. To him, there is only this moment, and this moment is as it is. Events are not personalized. He's nobody's victim. He is so completely at one with what happens that what happens has no power over him anymore. Only if you resist what happens are you at the mercy of what happens, and the world will determine your happiness and unhappiness. Wow. All right, that's passage 1. Let's see what passage number 2 is. All right, here we go. Although body identification is one of the most basic forms of ego, the good news is that it is also the one that you can most easily go beyond. This is not done by trying to convince yourself that you're not your body, but by shifting your attention from the external form of your body and from thoughts about your body, beautiful, ugly, strong, weak, too fat, too thin, to the feeling of aliveness inside it. No matter what your body's appearance is on the outer level, beyond the outer form, it is an intensely alive energy field. If you're not familiar with inner body awareness, close your eyes for a moment and find out if there's life inside your hands. Don't ask your mind. It'll say, "I can't feel anything." Probably it will also say, "Give me something more interesting to think about." So instead of asking your mind, go to the hands directly. By this, I mean become aware of the subtle feeling of aliveness inside them. It is there. You just have to go there with your attention to notice it. You may get a slight tingling sensation at first, then a feeling of energy or aliveness. If you hold your attention in your hands for a while, the sense of aliveness will intensify. Some people won't even have to close their eyes. They will be able to feel their inner hands at the same time as they read this. All right, that's patches number 2. Last but not least, let's do number 3. All right. As we have seen, the ego is, in its essential nature, pathological. If we use the word in its wider sense to denote dysfunction and suffering. Many mental disorders consist of the same egoic traits that operate in a normal person, except that they have become so pronounced that their pathological nature is now obvious to anyone, except the sufferer. For example, many normal people tell certain kinds of lies from time to time in order to appear more important, more special, and to enhance their image in the mind of others. Who they know, what their achievements, abilities, and possessions are, and whatever else the ego uses to identify with. Some people, however, driven by the ego's feeling of insufficiency and its need to have or be more, lie habitually and compulsively. Most of what they tell you about themselves, their story, is a complete fantasy, a fictitious edifice the ego has designed for itself to feel bigger, more special. Their grandiose and inflated self-image can sometimes fool others, but usually not for long. It is then quickly recognized by most people as a complete fiction. The mental illness that is called paranoid schizophrenia, or paranoia for short, is essentially an exaggerated form of ego. It usually consists of a fictitious story the mind has invented to make sense of a persistent underlying feeling of fear. The main element of the story is the belief that certain people, sometimes large numbers or almost everyone, are plotting against me or are conspiring to control or kill me. The story often has an inner consistency and logic so that it sometimes fools others into believing it too. Sometimes organizations or entire nations have paranoid belief systems at their very basis. The ego's fear and distrust of other people, its tendency to emphasize the otherness of others by focusing on their perceived faults and make those faults into their identity, is taken a little further and makes others into inhuman monsters. The ego needs others, but its dilemma is that deep down it hates and fears them. Jean-Paul Sartre's statement, "Hell is other people," is the voice of the ego. The person suffering from paranoia experiences that hell most acutely, but everyone in whom the egoic patterns still operate will feel it to some degree. The stronger the ego in you, the more likely it is, in your perception, other people are the main source of problems in your life. It is also more likely that you will make life difficult for others. But of course, you won't be able to see that. It is always others who seem to be doing it to you. Wow, interesting. And I can think of some people in our world today that seem to be like that. So anyway, hopefully this message or one of the messages resonated with you, was something that you maybe needed to hear right now. I will see you again next Thursday, which is Christmas Eve, for those of you that celebrate the Christmas holidays. If you don't celebrate the Christmas holidays, no matter what holiday you celebrate, I wish you peace, love, and joy. And as always, keep the faith and let your light shine.